Guys, we have a brand new monster balance patch. I feel like you're either going to like this or dislike it based on what you think balance patches should even be. So recently, we have been getting balance patches on a fairly regular basis. We've been getting them probably twice as much as, maybe not quite twice as much, almost twice as much as we used to get them a couple years ago. They were fewer far between. They also were more impactful. These ones nowadays are less impactful. However, I do think that they are actually addressing some of the monsters. There's still monsters that are missing that they should be addressing, but I think they are actually addressing some of the things that need to be buffed in, like the Weapon Masters. In this balance patch. If you didn't see the balance patch already, the Weapon Masters are in it. So let's start it off. Number one is the Wind Sky Surfer max cooldown. This is actually exactly what I thought would be or should be increased, is the max cooldown on this, on his Mega Impulse gun. Also, he decreases his cooldowns anyway, so he had like no cooldown on this third skill. So increasing the max cooldown is not as crazy as it seems, considering he decreases the cooldown on it regardless. Also, when attacking on your turn, increases damage dealt up to 20% each. Damage dealt to the enemy by 20% each up to 100% is now 10% each up to 50%. I feel like that's fair. I feel like those are good balance patches. Those are good balance patches. I feel like there's a good modification, so I feel like we're already off to a good start. People were just first picking him all the time. There's counters to him, but people were just first picking him all the time. So this at least gives people that are fighting against Oliver a little bit of breathing room to possibly come back from that, right? So Water Mage, Soul Harvest, this is just decreasing. This was 60%, right? So it's decreasing it from 40 to 25 because it was already decreased once before. I feel like it's not going to make her not meta. It's just a fair nerf of 25% HP. It doesn't really change what she does or where she's going to. Some people mentioned that this was going to be a really great combination with Dragon Knights. So that's potentially a thing, but because then it's going to put their torrent in ignore defense range. That's the, so you just don't target the Dragon Knights first. That's the new strategy, I suppose. Fire Weapon Master, collect weapons passive. So this is basically just Can we make this a little bit bigger? That's what she's... No, we can't make it a little bit bigger, apparently. Oh, I don't know why I was thinking we can't make it. We can't make it bigger. Fire Weapon Master, passive. When an enemy dies, increase your attack bar by 75%. Increase your attack power by the dead target's base attack power. Now it's going to be when an enemy or ally dies. Increase your attack bar by 75%. So it works even with your allies, not just enemies. Water Weapon Master. So that's the fire one. The Water Weapon Master. This one is actually a pretty... I feel like it's going to be a pretty significant buff, pretty significant change. As is, attacks all enemies if there are 3 or more enemies, and attacks the selected target 6 times if there are less than 3 enemies. Damage increases according to the enemy's max HP. Attack decreases the enemy's attack speed for 2 turns. This was like this was like a skill where you use it in TOA Hell. You use it against bosses. That's about the only situation, because there's some limits of like CC in TOA Hell, so that's kind of the situation where you would use that. Now, it's attack all enemies, stuns for 1 turn if there are 4 or more enemies. The damage increases the higher the enemy's current HP. Attacks the selected target 6 times if there are 3 or fewer enemies, and deals damage that ignores defense up to 100% the lower the target's current HP. So this could be an interesting unit for Guild Siege. For Arena, he still does have the attack power, leader scaling. He still does have a stun. So I feel like this... Did I say Guild Wars? Did I say something? I probably said something else. Guild Wars. I feel like Guild Wars, Guild Siege, this could be an interesting thing because there's 3 or fewer enemies. So you have an ignore defense unit that has an attack power buff. And he's not as RNG as the Water Dice Magician. So we'll play around with him, but we already have him max, so it doesn't really... No skin off my back. Wind Weapon Master, but I feel like that could be something that's actually very useful now. Wind Weapon Master, as is, attack power increases, your HP decreases, attacks additionally when attacking an enemy on your turn. The attack deals damage proportionate to your max HP. There's so much reading. Every time there's like a big chunk of text, I remember my girlfriend saying like, why do I want to I don't want to read all this. Just tell me what it does. I don't want to read all this. So now it is going to attack power increases, your HP decrease, the same thing. Attacks additionally dealing damage equal to 300% of your attack power when attacking an enemy on your turn. Attack absorbs the enemy's attack bar by 30% if your HP exceeds 50%, and recovers HP equal to 50% of the damage dealt if it's 50% or below. I feel like this is one of those things like You just play around with it for like an hour, see how you feel about it. Like that's the situation of this. He is still a single target wind bruiser. He's got the HP leader skill, so that's one that I feel we had to play around with before. We have to play around with again. It's kind of the same situation as Royd. It's like you appreciate him after you play around with him, right? So we got the Onmyuji's Fire, Wind, so I don't want to like jump the gun on Judgment on the Wind Weapon Master. So, Onmyuji Fire, Wind, Dark. Karma, effect added, increases your attack bar by 100% after using a skill. So they buffed Karma. That's the whole thing. It was like people are like saying buff Karma, so they're actually buffing Karma again. The thing is, personally, I feel like the Wind Onmyuji is actually a decent unit. It's a niche unit in certain situations, but I think it's already a decent unit. So they just buffed Karma more, which I don't feel like is bad. I don't feel like it's over buffed or anything at all. I don't think anyone's crying that Karma's over buffed. But this is it's just the stronger unit now. I was using this against Dianas, against Ciaras, against things that turn cycle a lot. So I bet this would be decent against Oliver now. Or probably, I don't think I've ever taken it into Oliver, but yeah, we could do that now. Or we could have done it before. I don't know why we couldn't have done it before. Yin Yang Bounded Circle. So this is actually different. Increases harmful effects granted on all enemies by 1 turn each is what it used to be. Now it's harmful effects applied to the selected enemy target are equally granted on all enemies. I don't think that this is exactly what she needed. I feel like she needed her own... I feel like she needed to be the one to apply harmful effects and then modify them. Instead of just, you need to make sure she's comboed with another unit. She does have a speed lead, which speed leads usually make units viable. However, she's not used, but she's got the speed lead. So I feel like that's kind of a red flag of like, maybe she needs something. They are doing stuff to her. I just don't know that this is going to be... Potentially could be cool. I just don't know if this is going to be... the game changer. This is going to be another one that feels like we got to play with it to actually see, but I don't think this is going to be the game changer. Water Onmyuji, this looks nasty. All things in nature grants beneficial effects to all allies for 1 turn is now beneficial effects for 2 turns. She already had some nasty stuff, like when the match had gone on for a while and there was a lot of buffs applied and there was a lot of debuffs applied, she would go crazy, like all of these buffs. Now she's just... That's a lot of buffs. That's a lot of 2-turn buffs. So, yeah, I think Water Onmyuji owners should be very excited about that. Next up, we have the Beast Monks. Instead of increasing their attack speed for 2 turns when they get a critical hit with skill 1, they're going to remove beneficial effects. This is something the Fire one already did, so he is going to remove all the beneficial effects instead of just 1, since he already did that. So that's why he's separate from the rest of them. We have the Fire Beast Riders, which is... Fire Beast Riders? How many of them are there? We have the Fire Beast Rider. Same thing for the most part, just she's going to give herself immunity. All the attack bar, increasing skill, whatever else is going to be the same. Just the immunity is the only one that changes. We have the Water Demon. Repeated Nightmare passive effect added. Glancing hit does not occur when you attack. This is going to be nice against small. It's the same as Leica, basically. It's not going to guarantee that you're going to crit, though. You still do need to put crit rate on the unit, but you're just going to not glance. So that is a common misconception there. We have the Dark Chimera. Speaking of crits... Forbidden Power passive effect added removes beneficial effects from the enemy target if you get a critical hit. This is nice. He's going to be critting all the time anyway, and he does dots. He does dots. Why do they do dots with skill 1? I feel like they could do a little bit more with skill, like maybe a stun or Chimera. I don't know. Maybe something. No. So he's going to just remove beneficial effects, which is nice with the dots, right? Is pretty nice. So then we have the Fire Chimera. Fire Chimera Collapse provokes all enemies for 1 turn, excluding the enemy target on your turn. AoE provoke. Not bad. And then revenge, and then revenge, and then revenge. Potentially pretty nasty. Desert Queen, Fire Desert Queen, Charming Voice. Cooldown reduced by 1 turn. They just keep buffing this skill. They just keep buffing Charming Voice. People are like, it's not good enough. Do it again. Dude, eventually she's gonna be ridiculous OP. People are gonna be first picking her. People are gonna be, maybe we nerfed the Fire Desert Queen. They buffed her too many times. They buffed her like 75. How bad was she at the very beginning? If they had to buff her so many times, people are like, well, maybe consider using her now. Like after 7 buffs or what. There was a lot of buffs on her. Anyway, we also have the Light Desert Queen, Gaze of Oblivion. This is one of my most wanted units. People complain about her all the time. They're like, she doesn't do damage. I'm like, okay. She does an AoE Oblivion, AoE Silence with the Gaze of Oblivion. Cooldown reduced to 6 turns. They'll still complain. Don't worry. She doesn't do crazy. She doesn't do 300,000 damage. So, Water Polar Queen. I think Water Polar Queen was actually just fine. I use her all the time. I think she's a fantastic unit. Freeze chance is now 25%, which is just makes her more consistent in getting that additional turn from skill 3 to skill 2. By the way, don't put her on violent. People putting her on violent. She's not a violent. She's not a unit that should be on violent. You want her to kill things. You want her to be on rage or fatal if you can't get good enough stats on rage. You want her to kill things. This way, she gets the guaranteed additional turn after she does skill 3 onto skill 2. You don't want to maybe get a 22%, like not kill and then maybe get a 22%. You want her to kill things. You want her big damage. So I don't know why people putting her on violent. People have been doing this for years. They're still doing it. That's why I have to mention. I'm like, they're still putting her on violent. No, put her on rage. Give her the damage. Like Lucian. You don't put Lucian on violent. People are going to be like, I'm going to put Lucian on violent now. I don't know if that's going to give you the results that you're looking for. Wind Phoenix. Effect added stuns all enemies for 1 turn. Again, we don't really care about the stun. We want the kill. That doesn't make him meta for anything else. Although there is another Wind Phoenix buff later on in the patch. Wind Pioneer, Lightning of Cycle, cannot be revived if the enemy target dies from the first attack. That makes him more useful, right? Against Nanas, against Vanessas, and Pernas, and Samas, and all these things. Next up, we have the Fire Pioneer Sleeve Attack. So this was a strip and decrease the attack gauge for the enemy turn. Now it's a strip and absorb the attack gauge of the enemies, which if there's a lot of beneficial effects on the enemy team, then he is going to potentially give himself an extra turn. If he misses, like if there's shield and will, he could strip, absorb, and then the one that was missed, he could potentially do skill 2 on and strip and block for that one. So that could be potentially nice. We'll see. Some of these things we got to see in action. Dark Anubis. So this is goes from 1 hit to 2 hits on Deadly Wrath. Skill activation condition change resets the cooldown of Deadly Wrath if an ally dies while the skill's on cooldown. Is now resets the cooldown of Deadly Wrath if an ally or enemy dies while the skill is on cooldown. So just some changes there. I don't know how Dark Anubis owners feel about that. Sea Emperor. So this is interesting. I don't know why they did the Dark Sea Emperor like this. He does effect added, inflicts continuous damage for 1 turn to all enemies excluding the target. So if I recall correctly, the issue with the Dark Sea Emperor is he couldn't actually kill from his attack. He just basically brings them down. Like if he's gonna kill, he just brings them down to like 1 HP and doesn't actually kill. So then he does continuous damage after that instead of killing. Like I don't know if that's what they needed. I don't know how people feel about that. I think people would just be like, no, just kill the things. Dark Ryu, PPK combo. It's basically the same thing. Dark Ryu, Dark Striker. 1 to 3 hits. Decrease the enemy's attack bar by 30% each. Is now removes beneficial effect from the enemy target with a 100% chance. They're kind of making him a little bit similar to the Fire Shadow Claw, where it's strips with skill 3. But yeah, now he does that, and then he does the crazy prolong every harmful effect by 9 million turns, and then cycle, and then crazy nonsense. And next up, we have the Wind and Light Undyne's Mind Shock. This is their second skill, grants Oblivion effect for 2 turns with a 100% chance. With the second skill, we have very few units that actually do Oblivion. Now they are the one. They really want to use this Light Undyne. They buffed her in the last balance patch. She's got a cleanse now. Well, she had a cleanse before, didn't she? She just has an AoE team cleanse now with this one. And she has an Oblivion. I feel like at this point, we'd probably start using her. She does a lot. She does a lot now. So, Light Undyne. And then also the Wind Undyne, because she used to be a super meta unit. She cleanses. She does immunity. She increases cooldowns with skill 2. But now she increases cooldown. The Mind Shock is skill 2. Now she increases cooldowns of the enemy. And then also grants Oblivion on top of that. So, Silfid Water Light, Strong Gust, stuns for 1 turn with 50% chance. That's not as good as Mind Shock. Stuns for 1 turn is not as good as Oblivion, which is a more rare debuff. for 2 turns with a 100% chance. Night and day. Silfid Fire Sacrifice Passive decreases attack bar by 15%. So this is a decreased attack bar with every attack. Because she already does that. It's just 25 instead of 15. Silfid Water Awakened Healing Breeze now is going to unconditionally decrease the skill cooldown of an ally target by 1 turn. We have Silfid, the Wind one for Force Field. Shield amount increased to 30% proportion to caster's max HP. We have the and she also was, her stats were changed like a year ago, 6 months ago, something like that. I remember her stats being different, or am I thinking of a different unit? I think her stats got her stats got shifted to match her type better. It doesn't matter. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Now Light Silfid again. Oh no, this is not the light. This is not the Light Undyne. This is the Light Silfid. I thought they were talking about the Light Undyne again. Light Silfid, Blessing of the Wind. Immunity for 1 turn to odds with full HP before recovering HP is now full HP after recovering HP. So this does a defense buff, this does a big heal, and now it's going to do immunity for... It's only immunity for 1 turn, but still it's immunity. I don't think I've even played with her after that. After the buff. So, Rune Blacksmith, Fire Rune... So the Blacksmiths are actually... The Blacksmiths all got buffed. However, the Water one, still, I don't think people are going to use. Fire Blacksmith. Blacksmith's technique passive increases the attack power, defense, and attack speed, increasing effects that allies receive by 25 is now 35%. Pretty nice. Rune Blacksmith Water, still not what... I mean, it's a thing that you use in prolonged matches, but she doesn't do really enough to warrant a spot in some of these prolonged matches. When an enemy resists a harmful effect, increases accuracy 20%. When an ally gets a harmful effect, increases accuracy. Instead of 10%, it's 20% now, but it's not... Like, the skills could just, like, accuracy and resistance could just not work, and it's irrelevant. So, in theory, it's like, oh, cool. But in reality, it's like, I built this unit. I have used her for the video and then stopped using her after that. Period. Water and Dark Rune Blacksmith, Harmful Hammering, Harmful Effect activation rate is now 85%. I think this might be 100% after it's fully skilled up. Guaranteed to decrease attack power and defense for all enemies if Great is activated for 3 turns now. 3-turn attack power and defense decrease. Not bad. Not bad at all. Anubis does that. We know how dangerous Anubis can be if you get 3-turn defense. But like, you can violent proc out of that, but only to a certain extent. Rune Blacksmith, Firewind Light, Beneficial Hammering, increase attack power and defense and Red Shield for allies if Great is activated for 2 turns. Now 3 turns. This is the light one already is pretty ridiculous. The light one is just gonna... I'm sorry, it's controversial. I think the light one is great because some of her beneficial effects can just last forever because she can increase the duration of them, she can decrease the cooldowns, and she just had those beneficial effects forever. So I think that she's a great unit when you can control her, like on offense for things. So Rune Blacksmith Light Overhaul effect added when Great is activated additionally reduces the skill cooldown of all allies by... they only do that when I'm recording. When I'm not recording, it's super... They're like, oh, he's not recording? Oh, let's just chill. So more Light Rune Blacksmith buffs because I already think she's great. I got her. I think she's great. I thought she was great before that. Thought she was great after I got her. Think she's a great unit. I'm a big fan. But I'm a big fan of Ryan. So who guys, did you know Ryan has an attack power buff and a defense break? I'm just saying. All the Kung Fu girls got buffed. So effect added from Fire Dragon. So these are their 3rd skills: Fire Dragon attack, Water Dragon attack, Light Dragon attack. Stuns for 1 turn. She also prolongs the stuns with her 3rd skill. Water Dragon attack. She's gonna do random attacks. She's going to decrease defense for 2 turns, which is nice against, like, if there's no defense break against like the R5, if for the boss, the raid boss. She's gonna defense break and then hit more. Or any monster that you hit. Light Dragon attack removes beneficial effect from the enemy target. She's the one that the light one is the one that does attack gauge manipulation skills. Twist Kick is their 2nd skill. Additionally activates Fire Dragon attack with a 20% chance. Is pretty interesting. These units keep comboing into other stuff. So also, never mind. I won't say it. Maybe we'll do a video on it. I had an idea, but we'll just do a video on it. I shouldn't say too much. Stats of some monsters will be changed. Monster Phoenix, Water, and Wind stats changed. Stats adjusted to buff monster. Increase HP proportion. Very nice. Pioneer Wind stats changed. Stats adjusted to buff monster. Increase attack power proportion. Not bad. No complaints. Awakening effect of some monsters will be changed. Fairy King Light. I have this unit on the Asia server account. I did not know he increased the accuracy. What a nonsense skill. He only needs that for skill 1. Why would they make that his not leader skill, the awakening effect? If I knew that, I would have complained about it. I missed out on so many opportunities to complain, guys. Now he increases crit rate though, which that's nice because I can never seem to get enough crit rate on him while having all the because you need to actually use him nowadays. You actually need a lot of crit rate. You have reasons that you wouldn't be able to use him anyway. Usually I don't even use him for anything, but yeah. And then we have skill errors of some monsters will be fixed. I didn't even notice this. Fix the error of the damage amplification effects based on skill level not being applied properly. So I think that they are actually buffing things that need to be buffed. They are nerfing things that need to be nerfed. Kind of when other games come out like Ni no Kuni and Dislight, and I think Epic 7 just got a thing. Genshin is getting, what, 2.7? So, since all of these things are happening, come to us more likely to give us a patch that's like, okay, we're going to change things. We're going to change things. Some people are not going to like this because their Nat 5s and their LD 5s and their things didn't get buffed. Where's the Camila buff? Where's the Christina buff? They're still not giving us everything. But honestly, I feel like they're holding out on purpose from some of these things that we feel need to be buffed the most because it kind of teases us to, like, they're going to do it eventually. We got to keep playing. We got to keep playing until they eventually buff Christina, buff Camila, you know, release the last dimension in the dimension hole. All of these things. It's like just reasons they're trying to like say, like, no, there's still things coming. Don't stop playing. There's still things coming in Summoners War. There's still constantly things. You never know. Camila's going to get buffed one day. Christina's going to get buffed one day. So I don't know why I do this all the time. Anyway, that's it for this one. I'm going to go edit this because I got to splice the video up like 9,000 times. So hope you guys enjoy. Hope you guys enjoying the balance patch. I will see you as always in, let me know what you think in the comments. Oh God, I should never say that. I'll see you as always in the next one.